Yo, what up guys, so in today's video what I want to do is take you through the LazyAdmin level or room on TryHackMe. Now this level is an easy difficulty, so it should not be as hard, and I do recommend doing this level or room if you are after basically getting your exploitation skills or hacking levels a bit up. Especially if you're a beginner, this is very easy to exploit. If it's not easy for you, it's okay. Everyone has their own skills. As I said in the past videos, when I first started hacking, I could not get Nmap to run, which is embarrassing to think about, but it's not. Everyone is different, right? Everyone has their own ways of doing things, and everyone has their own ways of thinking. Everyone has their own ways of learning, so it's absolutely okay if you're a beginner and you can't get certain stuff to run. I do give you information on my channel, so if you are basically looking for a specific tool to run, make sure to check out my Udemy or check out my YouTube channel. There will be information for you, or ask me on Twitter, or ask anybody in the comments. I'll answer. I answer to 99% of my comments. If I don't answer to your comment, it's most likely that I can't see it. Some of the comments are hidden for unknown reason. I don't know why, so I have to go make an extensive search for the comments to answer them, because some of them comments are hidden. YouTube hides them from me I don't know why. Right, so let's get to exploitation. So let me just close this because I had to re-record. So we got the IP address. The IP address for us is this. So HTTP 10.10.101.218, right? As you can see, it's an Apache to Ubuntu. Now it says it works, but there's nothing here, right? Which sort of gave me okay, there's nothing here, but I don't believe in this to just run a web server for nothing, right? Now also what we can do is, in the meantime, I actually forgot to do this first because this is a walkthrough. You should run an Nmap scan, right? But Nmap scan doesn't tell us about it a bit much, right? I forgot actually to do this first. Sorry guys. Sorry, I need to do sudo nmap osv 10.10.101.218. Right, let's just let this run in the meantime, but it's not going to give us much information, because all it's going to say, there's a web server on SSH. SSH is always open. So, okay, so what do we do now? What you can do now is run the GoBuster. GoBuster is a directory busting tool which finds you directories or websites that are basically hidden or are not available to basically, maybe they're hidden or they're not on the navigation tool, maybe the links are broken, whatever, right? It'll find the link for you if it contains in the word list. So what we can do is GoBuster. Now, if you don't know how to run GoBuster, I've showed you also a video how to run GoBuster and Dirbuster as well. So GoBuster dir, the URL, which is http 10.10.101.218, and the word list, which is user share. Now it's not word list, it will be drb word lists and big.txt. Now sometimes what you might have to do is use different word lists, because some of the word lists might not contain specific names of the website or link you're looking for. So sometimes you might have to use different one. You may have to use 2 or 3, right? But if after 3 word list you can't find what you're looking for, it just might not be there, or it might be really hidden, right? Or it's under a different directory, right? So as you can see, we're running a directory bus. We have content. So if you go to the website, is Nmap done? Yes. So as you can see, Nmap didn't actually show us much, apart from saying that port 80 TCP, it's open, HTTP, Apache, and they give us the version. And if you know this, obviously also give us the Linux version. Linux, that is an Linux operating system, which is very important when running exploits, because you cannot run an exploit on the Windows if it works only for Linux, and the other way, if an exploit works, like a PowerShell script won't work on Linux, because that's 2 different things, right? That's 2 different terminals. So we know it's Linux and we know it's Apache. Now we obviously know because we want the website, which is obvious, right? So now we found also a directory bus. So we have found content. So what we can do now is go to /content. So now this is also a breakthrough of information, because what happens is it gave us a CMS, sweet rice notice. As you can see, sweet rice everywhere. And it says your website management system, which is CMS, right? I like to call it a website engine. I don't know why. which technically for me it makes sense because it's a website engine, your website management engine, whatever, doesn't matter whatever you call it. If you call it CMS or you say WordPress, everyone knows what you're talking about. So as you can see, it gives you some information and it gives you some CMS information. Now, if you go into the internet, remember, internet is your friend. Look for some information about certain versions of CMSs, so like WordPress. Some of the WordPresses are vulnerable, some of them are not. Important thing is that to try, right? Also, people don't update their systems, right? Regularly, or sometimes they forget, which is a very, very big threat. Now, let's go to the source, view page source. This is important, right? There's absolutely, unfortunately, there's nothing here. I've checked through, there's nothing here, just give you some information. There could be some framework information, right? For example, there could be some hidden link, or there could be some hidden information, uncommented information, some passwords, some logins. You need to check everything. Now, I'm not going to go through everything in this video because I could be here. This video will be about 5 hours long, right? Because there's basically, you could look through cookies, right? You could look through cookies, which over here, there's nothing here, unfortunately. You could look through the network, the console, look through everything, right? But I'm not going to go through this because I'll be here till 5 a.m. and I cannot afford to be here till 5 a.m. unfortunately. But I'll be making more and more videos. The more videos you watch that I produce, the more you're gonna learn and the better you become. Obviously, you cannot just become a very good bug bounty hunter, sorry. Bug bouncer, what the fuck? Bug bounty hunter, or a very, very good ethical hacker or a hacker overall by just watching videos. You need to do this yourself because you need to understand. Now, I do recommend, highly do recommend doing notes. Without notes, you're just gonna have so much information and you're gonna go forget it. Or you are just gonna, whenever you're gonna do pen testing, you're gonna focus on something else and you're gonna forget about other steps. So I do recommend making notes. I started making notes just recently and I very, very find it very useful, right? So as you can see, it says content. There's nothing here, right? So what we can also do is run another directory bust under the another website, right? So when you run another directory bust, let me just run again. Another directory bust on this content/content, it gives you very, very important files, right? It gives you themes, it gives you everything. So the first thing, right, we can go is through _themes, right? As you can see, default, and it gives you a lot of information. Cat PHP, there's nothing here. That's fine. So it gives you some important information, right? But the thing is, we're interested in, I'm not going to go for everything because I'll be here till 5 a.m. As you can do, as I said, you can just check this on your own. So what we're going to go is straight to AS. AS doesn't stand for anything. Maybe it stands for admin something, but we're going to go to AS. The AS unleashes a login page, right? Now we can brute force this. But if you go on the internet, as I said, if you go for default credentials of Sweet Rice, or I'm actually not going to do that because I want to show you something different. So if you go to, what was it called? Let me just check. I think it was attachment. Attachment, maybe? Nope, it was, I think, ANC. Okay, so it's here. So if you go through here, we have MySQL backup. And some other information, but we're interested in MySQL backup. If you know what MySQL is basically a website database, right? So what we can do is if you click on it, it downloads the file. Now this is a very, very big problem. First of all, the problem here is obviously we are allowed to list all of this. You should never be able to list the contents of something like this. And the second thing is you definitely should not have access to databases and be able to download them. So this is a very big problem. But because we are allowed to look for the database, we're going to take an advantage of this. So we're going to go is open with a mousepad. And when you go through the mousepad or through the file, what you actually get is a database. And if you go down, there's nothing here. There's just some database tables and nothing important. There's no data here. But if you go here, you will get is some information, as you can see here, right? So as you can see, it says somewhere here, I don't know if you guys can see this. I think you can. Nope. Right, so I'll just show you. So it says here admin and it says manager. And it says password, which stands for password as short, and there's a hash. So if you use this information, admin or manager, right, we're gonna take manager and we're gonna copy and we're gonna put on the website. And we're gonna back to go AS, right? So we're gonna go content/AS and we're gonna go account, paste, and go back to the file. And we're gonna get is the hash, copy, right? We're gonna go to a website called CrackStation or HashStation. No, it's CrackStation. I always mess the name up. So we're gonna do this paste. This is a hash, right? Now, how do I know it's a hash? Because it's a string of we don't know what. So it's either encoded or it's a hash. We know it's a hash, right? So we're gonna do is I'm not a robot. I might ask you for some pictures. Now I hopefully, right, give me a second. Now I'm not doing captcha because we're on a basically virtual machine using the TryHackMe server. So we were gonna get a captcha and it's not gonna work. So when you run this on this website I suggest doing this on your computer, your actual host machine. If you run this hash, it's an MD5 hash, or you can run hashcat as well if you want to. But I think it's faster if you use the website and use password. We get the result password 123. Now, you might not necessarily get this like this easy. What you might have to do is try, so for example, admin, you might have to try certain passwords. But because we know it's manager, right? But you might, as I said, you might have to try some other. Sorry, that's not the password. The password is 123, right? So manager password 123, and we logged in. Now, once you're logged in, it sort of looks like WordPress, by the way, with the left side like this, but right. So now, because we're into the website, what we can do is we can obviously reverse shell, run and upload a file and get reverse shell, which is very, very easy to do. I love doing this. I've showed you before how to do. I'm going to show you again. So what we're going to do is data import. Import means send, export means send from the server to you, right? So as you can see, there's a MySQL backup. If you remember, content including, it's the same thing as here, right? It's the same thing as here, which meaning is this is the basically content of this file folder, right? So what we can do is go to website called reverse shell generator. I haven't showed you this website, but I'm showing you this now, right? So now what we need to do is the IP address, which is, yeah, it's correct. I'm just gonna change the port. So this website is very good. So this is why it's important to know what operating system you're trying to hack into. So we're gonna do this reverse Linux, and we're gonna look for is pentest monkey PHP, right? PHP. You might need to try some exploits or some different certain exploits for this to work, but I use this one. Pentest monkey with pentest monkey altogether has about 99.9% succeed rate, right? Every time I use this, it worked. So you have 99.9% success rate. So let's copy this. Let's get this off. Let's go to a mouse pad. And let's close the database. Let's run mousepad. Let's copy this. Now, as you can see, I don't need to do anything because I already have filled information. Now, this is your L host. So your Kali machine or whatever system you're using to hack. This is not your victim. Because if you do this, it's not going to work because you're trying to get a reverse shell from the victim, not from you. Right? So the port we're using is 444. It doesn't matter what port you use. I just recommend using above 2000. Right, so let's do this. So we're gonna save as desktop, and we're gonna call it run. Actually, I'm not gonna do this. You should save it. As you can see, I already have one, right? You should save it as .php, right? Let me just change the name. So run as PHP, okay? This is an exploit, what we're gonna go is go on the website, import, and run.php, and click done. Now, as you can see, it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Because if you, I think, refresh the page, basically what happens is this website only accepts .SQL files. However, we're the best hackers in the world. I will show you how to bypass this very, very easily. So what we need to do is just run sql.php5. We'll go on the website, browse, run sql.php5, done. And once, as soon as you upload it, it's on the system, right? Let's go to content, and it's done. Before you click on it, I mean, you can click on it, but it won't do anything. So we need to do run one command. netcat nlvp444. Now, if you go to reverse shell, the website tells you, so this is the exploit part, and this is the listener. So you need to remember, now you can obviously change to PowerCat, SOCAT, Ponca, Rustcat, Windows Comp TY, which I believe is Python, and MSF console, stuff like that. But we're going to run ncat because ncat is installed on Kali by default. So we're going to run ncat. So we're listening right now. The listener is done. So we just need to click on it. And as soon as you click on it, as you can see, as soon as the website is not loading, that means we have the reverse connection done. And as you can see, we have the connection. However, what we're going to do is upgrade our, as you can see, it's a little shitty terminal, but we're going to upgrade using a command. So what we're going to do is we're going to upgrade a little bit. So we're going to do this Python -c import, sorry, it's like a little comma at the top. It's a comment, import pty 2 dots pty.spawn left bracket comma. Just copy what I'm saying. I don't even know what they're called, sorry, unfortunately, like professionally, right? So bin bash 2 commas, close, and a comma. And what this does, it gives us a fully interactive terminal. So this is much better because what allows us to do is allows us certain functions and allows us extra basically functions of the Linux to run. So what we can do is now, obviously we're looking for a user flag, so we can do ls home or cd home actually, sorry. And we can do ls and ls cd it guy. Now if you do ls, as you can see, there's certain stuff. So there's desktop, downloads, pictures, templates, just the basics. And there is also a user txt. So if you do cat user txt, which I'm not going to show you because it shows a flag. I want to, if you guys really want me to, I'll paste the flags because I already have the flags. They're already done a couple weeks ago. So I'm not going to show you. So, but if you really want me to, if you're struggling but you want the flag, I'll show you the flags. I'll post on YouTube and Twitter. Just drop me a message in the comments if you're looking for the flags. I'll give them to you. Now, what we're looking at is obviously we need the root flag. So now what we can do is either we can run some exploits on GTFO-bins, which means if you just go to google.com and just go to GTFO-bins, which is important. Now this is a Linux website that allows you to abuse certain functions of basically scripts or programs that are installed in Linux and allows you to exploit to root privileges. But today we're not going to be using root privileges, we're going to be using a root script that allows us to read the flag, because many people show you how to get the root information, the root account. But what I want to show you is that you don't need the root account to read the root flag. Everything will make sense in a minute, right? So if you go to sudo, for example, actually I want to show you. So nmap allows you to get an easy shell by running this. Nmap interactive, and once you get to nmap allows you this, but we don't have nmap installed, because if you do nmap interactive, as you can see, it needs to be installed. However, what we can do is either we could run every single script, we could run a command that shows us every single sudo permission in the system, or what we could do is check if we have permissions to any files in the system as an IT guy. So we can do sudo l, And as you can see, it shows us basically this doesn't allow password, and we can run this easily, right? So what we can do is we can run a simple script that allows us to view, right? So we're going to just go cat backup to place, right? Sorry, I need to go to home. Oh, sorry. So cat backup.pl, and it runs a script, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go to cdetc copy.sh, sorry, cdetc, because as you can see, it runs the copy.sh script, and ls, and what we're going to do is we're going to go cat copy.sh, and it runs basically a reverse shell, but we're not going to do that. We're going to go back to the terminal. What we're going to do is basically something called a pro player move, and we're going to outsmart everyone else, and we're going to be way faster. Now, I don't really recommend doing this every single time because you're not really learning anything, but you can do it, you know, just for this video, to show you that it's possible, or just have fun around. I'm doing this for a joke, to be honest, just for a laugh. So what we can do is go to echo, and what we're going to do is you're going to go cat root.txt. Now append, sorry, we're not going to append, right? We're going to do this change to copy.sh. And if you know what this command does, I think you know what we're going to do. So we're going to go to sudo user bin perl home it guy backup.pl, and this is the root flag, right? So this is how you can easily bypass the security systems, right? Now, I only showed you this because we're not cheating. This is not cheating, right? What we have done is basically we have abused a system file that has root permissions, right? We have abused permissions of a certain file, right? As you can see, it has root, and it has read write, read execute permissions, right? So we have abused a file which should definitely not be here because it's a root, right? It should definitely have not been here, which is a security flaw, right? It's a big security flaw because it allows us to execute certain, but it doesn't really, it's basically executes another script, which that script runs another script and allows us this to happen, right? So that's how it works. So this is just hopefully it's a quick video. How long am I on recording? For 23 minutes, that's okay, right? So I tried to make this video as informational as I could. I think you guys already know I like to talk. I like to basically spread as much knowledge as I know. That's the purpose of my channel, to give you guys as much information as I know or as I've learned to educate you guys, which then you can use further to educate yourselves. And hopefully that's it, right? I'm not going to be posting possibly for the next weekend. I'm going to be posting something on starting of the week because I'm working, unfortunately. And I do not have time to basically record something. I'll be active on Twitter and YouTube in case you need something or you want to ask me something. So make sure that if you want to ask me something, go ahead and do it. So hope you guys enjoyed enjoyed the video and you've learned something new. And see you later, guys. Thank you for watching.